right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Chilly start. Thursday morning temperatures could be in the upper 40s in the coldest spots when the warm-up begins and the rain chances that are creeping into that weekend forecast.
Big rigs hitting the road with technology behind the wheel. Tonight, the safety of driverless semis and when they'll merge with traffic on local highways. Our top story, a death row inmate seeking exoneration avoids execution. The surprise plea deal that has Marcellus Williams giving up his fight for freedom. The convicted murderer will head back to court in the morning to be resentenced after entering an Alford plea today. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. Tonight, prosecutor Wesley Bell is reacting to the decision to keep Williams behind bars. As Brent Solomon explains, not everyone is pleased with that decision.
Outside of the St. Louis County Courthouse Wednesday, a show of support for Marcellus Williams.
My father is strong in his faith, a very resilient man, very intelligent, and he feels like if he has to be the vessel of sacrifice to promote change, then so be it.
His son reacting to the news. A fight to have Williams exonerated failed. He is convicted in the murder of former St. Louis Post-Dispatch reporter Felicia Gale back in 1998. He was set to be executed next month. Wednesday, prosecutors were prepared to say he was wrongly convicted, claiming new DNA evidence from the weapon does not show a match to Williams. But that never happened. The court learned the weapon was mishandled after the crime. DNA was removed and added from it over a 3-year period following the murder. Those new developments led Williams to enter an Alford plea, not admitting guilt, but acknowledging there's not enough evidence to set him free. Because of that plea, he no longer faces execution.
If there is question about someone's innocence, you can't execute someone in that circumstance.
We caught up with prosecutor Wesley Bell from the DNC convention.
We think that this is an appropriate resolution at this juncture.
Moments after the agreement, Missouri's Attorney General announcing plans of his own. On X, he posted his plans to appeal the plea. Quote, "The victims in this case deserve better."
A man either had to decide to live or continue to fight for justice, risking his own life in the same way.
It's not the decision I would have been leaning towards, because I want a full exoneration because I believe wholeheartedly that my father that he is innocent.
Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
Williams is now expected to serve life without parole. Prosecutors say the victim's family agrees with that decision. A.G. Bailey claims the judge in the case exceeded his authority by moving forward with the plea. You can read more about his appeal right now on KSDK.com. A guilty plea tonight in the shooting death of a young father in Pagedale. Stephen Marion pleaded guilty to second-degree murder in the death of 19-year-old Jalen Johnson. Investigators say Johnson was shot during a robbery last summer near the Metrolink station on St. Charles Rock Road. 6 others, including 2 juveniles, are also charged. According to court documents, Marion will be sentenced once those other cases are resolved. Tonight, police are investigating an early morning carjacking in Soulard. The 19-year-old victim told officers he was out delivering food near 12th and Russell when a suspect pulled a gun and told the victim to get out of his car. Police are still looking for the suspect and the 2008 Audi A4 they stole. If you have any information, you can call Crime Stoppers at 866-371-TIPS. More than $100 million. That's the hefty price tag that owners of the Dome at America Center say is needed to make extensive upgrades to the downtown venue. New tonight, 5 on your side's Robert Townsend delves into the details and gets reaction from fans.
For nearly 30 years, the Dome at America Center has been one of the top entertainment venues in St. Louis. The downtown 67,000-seat stadium attracts big sports events, concerts, and conventions.
The Dome has been operating and receiving the events and doing well.
The Reverend Earl Nance Jr. is the chairman of the St. Louis Regional Convention and Sports Authority. The RSA owns the Dome, which Nance says will soon need a multi-million-dollar makeover.
How long has the Dome needed these repairs?
I say for about the last 2 or 3 years.
In a 57-page report, Nance and his 10-member RSA board say the dome's LED lighting, scoreboards, and elevators need upgrading. They also say the multi-purpose facility will eventually need a new roof.
Preventive maintenance.
Expensive maintenance the RSA will pay for by using a bulk of the $70 million it received from the NFL Rams settlement money last year. But Nance says they'll need an additional $155 million investment over a decade to complete the upgrades.
We've been funded by the state, the city, and the county. So there's going to have to be some renewed talks.
Of course, concert and sports fans have plenty to say when it comes to talking about dome-related dollars and sprucing up this popular venue.
The dome, man, that's a landmark. I think that's very necessary.
That sounds like an awful lot of money to me. To me, use your 70, do the most important things.
It's not dire, but it's a matter of catching it before it gets dire.
Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
A spokesman for St. Louis County says while they support the dome, right now the county does not have any additional funding for future upgrades or repairs at the venue. A spokesman for Mayor Tashara Jones says the RSA has not asked the city for any money for the dome. New tonight, education advocates are calling for action to help St. Louis public school students as the district deals with multiple issues. The coalition with STL Kids and partners held a meeting discussing education equity, and it comes in the middle of a transportation crisis and leadership shakeup within the district. One group highlighted another crisis, saying that 87% of African American kids can't read at their grade level.
These are not statistics, these are real children that we actually meet every day. These are real parents who also suffer from illiteracy, who were pushed through systems. So I need everybody in this room to get it out of your mind that learning starts at home. Learning starts right here.
The group also asked parents to help each other when it comes to these transportation issues. Well, thousands of semi-trucks crisscross Interstate 70, 44, and 55 every day. In the not-so-distant future, those big rigs may be barreling down those highways without a driver. New tonight, 5 on your side's Ann Allred explains the evolution of the driverless semi.
18 wheels and up to 80,000 pounds, and no one is behind the wheel.
It's like a moon landing, or like when the Wright brothers invented flight, or even, probably like the founders of the internet felt when something like this took place.
Osa Fisher is president of Aurora Innovation, an autonomous vehicle company. And this is one of her driverless trucks. On a test track, navigating dangerous debris and unexpected pedestrians. A kaleidoscope of technology that includes proprietary software, HD cameras, radar, and laser sensors.
The Aurora driver can see a 360-degree view around the vehicle. It can also see 4 football fields in advance, even at night. That means that it can see a pedestrian 11 seconds faster than the average human or the average camera.
Since 2021, Aurora trucks have driven 1.5 million miles on public highways, but with human safety drivers in the cab to ensure nothing goes wrong. There were 3 crashes, Fisher said, all caused by mistakes by human drivers in other cars. By the end of the year, Aurora plans to remove the safety driver and deploy a small amount of fully autonomous big rigs in Texas. So how safe is safe enough?
We hope to be the gold standard when it comes to safety. And what I mean by that is that we are as safe or safer than the best human driver.
A self-driving vehicle expert says with a lack of government regulation, we have to trust the companies.
The federal government for years has had a non-regulatory approach, and I'm quoting their words.
Some states have laws, but Missouri and Illinois do not.
But really, nobody knows how this is going to turn out till we put them on the roads. And the companies think they're probably safe. I'm sure they want to be safe. I'm sure they're trying to be as safe as they can. But no one's going to know how this turns out till they go on the road and we see.
So when could you be cruising next to an empty cab?
Over the next 5 or so years, you can guess even in St. Louis, the Aurora driver will be operating where you are.
Possibly the future of U.S. transport. Semis with no one inside. What does this technology mean for truck drivers? The American Trucking Association estimates the U.S. is facing a truck driver shortage of about 60,000. A spokesperson from the ATA told me the organization views autonomous semis as, quote, a tool to assist the nation's 3.5 million professional truck drivers, not a threat to displace them. I'm Ann Allred, 5 on your side.
Tonight, Ferguson police police say Officer Travis Brown is making progress in his recovery. Brown remains in a coma after he was tackled by a protester 11 days ago on the 10th anniversary of the death of Michael Brown. A department spokesperson says Brown's fever and pneumonia are now under control. And join us tomorrow night for a look at the changes that have taken place in Ferguson since the unrest following Brown's death. 10 years later, much has changed, including the community's police department. Only 4 officers who patrolled Ferguson back in 2014 are still on the job. One of those officers, Sergeant Jill Gronwald, admits it was a tough time to be an officer.
How do you feel you were viewed at the time as an officer by the community?
The devil. The absolute devil. They didn't know my heart, though. You know, they didn't know the way that I was raised, and we were all lumped into one category.
You can see more of this interview in our special Race, Listen, Learn, Live Voices of Ferguson. That will air tomorrow night at 7. The Veep's pick for Veep takes center stage at the Democratic National Convention. We're live at the DNC just moments after Tim Walz accepted his party's vice presidential nomination. No lions, but tigers and bears, oh my. Tonight, the hunt for the woman who got too close for comfort to a big cat.
It's kind of stupid.
Plus, the mama bear and her babies prompting a warning in one St. Louis neighborhood.
It's dry for the rest of the work week. We do have a chance, though, for a few showers and thunderstorms over the weekend. We'll break down what you need to know as you're making your weekend plans.
Just moments ago, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz accepted the Democratic nomination for vice president at the Democratic National Convention. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, is live in Chicago inside the convention center with the highlights. Mark?
Mike, Tim Walz has worn many titles in his career, governor, command sergeant major, but as he addressed the nation tonight, they called him coach, and his high school state title winning football team helped usher him onto the national spotlight. You could see emotional moments where his family, his wife and his son were overtaken with emotion, brought to tears as he started to address the country and accept the nomination to become the vice presidential pick for Kamala Harris. Walz then rattled off a list of policy wins in Minnesota with one tagline: while other schools were banning books, his were banishing hunger. Then he traded that title of coach and leaned into his role as more of a next-door neighbor.
We also protected reproductive freedom because in Minnesota, we respect our neighbors and the personal choices they make. And even if we wouldn't make those same choices for ourselves, we've got a golden rule: mind your own damn business.
Then the football coach went on offense and described Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and the Conservative Playbook Project 2025 as a threat to the nation or an affront to your personal liberty.
It's an agenda nobody asked for. It's an agenda that serves nobody except the richest and the most extreme amongst us. And it's an agenda that does nothing for our neighbors in need. Is it weird? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's also wrong, and it's dangerous.
You can bet those moments of Walz's family becoming emotional there will get their play and their run circulating on social media as clips go viral over the next several days. But for now, it's 76 days until the big election, or in Walz coaches speak, if you will. It's the fourth quarter. The Democrats are down 3, but they've got the ball and momentum on their side. The way he really rallied Democrats here, it was almost like a halftime speech, maybe the biggest halftime speech of his career. And the way he had him going, you might have held this thing at Soldier Field.
Well, now, Mark, the page turns to the current VP and the person who hopes to be the next president, Kamala Harris. Do we expect her to advance any new policy ideas in her speech tomorrow night?
Certainly, Republicans will be listening closely for that. Maybe something more they can try to attack her on. We have seen some policies come into clearer focus through the DNC platform or through Tim Walz's speech itself. He promised tax breaks for new home buyers, or she's recently adopted Trump's campaign pledge to end taxes on tips. Some of those populist ideas that appeal to people who are trying to spread a dollar a little farther. But the big battle lines are largely drawn here around abortion, around the southern border, immigration, the economy. So the contrast that Kamala Harris is trying to paint here in this closing stretch is one as a prosecutor versus a convicted felon, or in her words, joy versus darkness. Live in Chicago, Mark Maxwell, 5 on your side.
Mark, thanks. And former President Trump was in North Carolina today, where he held his first outdoor rally since last month's assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. Security was noticeably visible with snipers on the roofs and bulletproof glass surrounding the podium. And a possible big boost tonight for Mr. Trump. Sources say independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is planning to end his campaign and endorse the former president by the end of the week. The news comes on the same day RFK was certified to be on Missouri's November ballot. Check this out. Cell phone video shows a woman nearly getting attacked by a tiger at a New Jersey zoo. Police say she climbed over an outer fence and reached her hand to touch a Bengal tiger. She was able to get away after the tiger jumped up. Zookeepers say both the woman and the animal are lucky.
It could have been really bad. There were children here, right over there, that could have seen someone lose a hand, or worse. If our animal would have bitten her, the animal may have had to be euthanized.
Police are still looking for the woman seen in the video. She faces a fine for violating a city ordinance by scaling the fence. A warning tonight for Afton residents after several sightings of a black bear and 3 cubs roaming the area. The Missouri Department of Conservation has not received pictures of the reported bears, but people are urged to keep their distance and bring in food sources like trash cans, pet food, bird feeders, and grills. The reports of this family of bears comes after recent sightings of a black bear in the Metro East. That bear, named Dewey by people on Facebook, has been spotted in Columbia, Belleville, Fairview Heights, and Mascoutah. The last report was about 10 days ago, and conservation officers say he's looking for a home away from people. Chief Meteorologist Scott Cottle joins us now with that weather impact forecast, and it's going to start to warm up a bit.
It is going to start to warm up a little bit as we head into the weekend. And with that warmer air coming back towards St. Louis, it also brings back at least a little opportunity for some of us to get some rain, which, of course, has become rather dry across the area here lately. We haven't had much rain the last week or so in most areas. Not a lot anyway. There's the wheel, the St. Louis wheel. All quiet tonight as, of course, it's after closing time down there in that particular venue. We have the cool weather sliding in across the region. Today, because we started the day with the clouds and it took most of the day before the clouds finally slid onto the south and southeast of St. Louis, we were only in the mid-70s for highs. Tonight, as we've cleared out, we're watching more showers and thunderstorms back over parts of the plains. They should stay well west and northwest of us, but tomorrow afternoon, a few high clouds will come in. Look at these numbers, though. Thermometer reads 57 degrees in Coquia Heights, 56 in Millstop right now, as well as in Alton. Edwardsville's 58. Eureka's down to 56. Some spots will drop tonight close to 50 degrees, especially in the cooler areas and in those low spots. And that means maybe some patchy fog developing for tomorrow morning. 64 right now, our dew point. That's been incredible today. At one point, it was down to 49 degrees, 53. 76 was our high, 63 the low. There's still a chance we could drop below that before we turn the clock into tomorrow's calendar. 50 or so in Litchfield. We think some of the high clouds will drift in over our southwest counties. You see those showers and thunderstorms here across parts of South Dakota into Nebraska. While they're not heading our way, some of those high clouds will drift over the western counties, and those are normally some of the coolest spots, so maybe not as cool as it could be tomorrow if you're heading down along the Merrimack River Valley, but it's definitely a cool start in the 50s, back to around 80 or so, give or take a degree. And that dew point trend as we head towards the weekend, well, they start creeping up. A little more humid, not excessive, but dew points will be back above 60 degrees. And when they get that high, you start noticing it, but it's not all that bad and not the terrible heat and humidity that we would typically be used to this time of year. Now, by Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, there is a chance we'll get a few scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially west and north of St. Louis. That may linger into Sunday. It's all that transition of the warmer air trying to push back in across the region. So as temperatures warm, humidity increases, maybe a shower or thunderstorm, but for the majority of the weekend and for most of us, it should be on the dry side. The best opportunity looks like it's overnight Saturday to see a little bit of rain. So if you're camping this weekend, that may have an impact on some of your plans. Next week's a little toasty, mid-90s for highs. We will start to cool off again towards the end of next week.
All right, Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Mike, the Cardinal president has a thought about the future of the team. The present situation was a thriller tonight with the Brewers, and a woman from the area had a big game in the WNBA.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
The lead is still 10.5 games. It seems almost insurmountable, and they are in 6th place in the wild card standings, 5 games back of the final spot. However, sometimes in sports, a moment can change the course of a season. A walk-off grand slam is pretty serious stuff, but there are only 36 games left. 3rd inning, 1-0 Cardinals, and this Mason win is just a star in the making. Another 2-strike hit. Lars Nootbaar scores, 2-0 Cardinals. 7th inning, he's a lumberjack in spikes. He's Luken Baker, 6'4", 280, 27 years old. He came to bat in the 7th inning with the Cardinals down 4-2 and a man on. Everybody was hoping for one thing, and they got it. We are tied at 4. So cool to see that for a really good guy. In the bottom of the 9th, the great Devin Williams got wild and walked in 2 to tie the game at 6. First Carp and then Pham. And then in the 10th, Nolan Arenado with the bases loaded, a walk-off grand slam, and the Cardinals win a thriller 10-6. So Nolan Gorman is only 24 years old, and he already has 60 career homers. But today he was shipped to Memphis. Jose Fermin was recalled. Gorman is hitting .203 and hasn't homered in a month. He has struck out 151 times, which is 41% of his at-bats. So the DeWitts have rarely struck out in St. Louis. But for the first time since 1958 and 59, the Cardinals in a full season could have back-to-back losing seasons. Who knows, maybe they can turn it around, but with a difficult schedule looming, it just doesn't look good. Now, it hasn't been a disastrous season, but things have unraveled recently. Since the All-Star break, the Cardinals are 12-18. However, the ownership believes that with really talented young players like Mason Wynn and Alec Burleson, there is hope for the future.
There's a nice core there. So I'm not sure which way we'll go at the end of the season, but whichever way we go, I think you have to feel pretty good about the fact that, you know, you don't have to strip this thing down to the ground regardless. There's some really good young players here.
A little WNBA action. Minnesota hosting Las Vegas, and Nafisa Collier had it going. The fadeaway jumper from 18. Later on the drive, give her the bucket and one. The pride of Incarnate Word was really feeling it. How about this from about 24 feet? She had 23 points, and the Lynx go on to win it 98-87.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
Today at the Schnucks in Des Peres, City SC brought 3 of their players for a good cause. Chris Durkin, Jake Nowinski, and Jose Kojima. They were all signing autographs and meeting with fans. They were there to promote the City SC and Schnucks food drive benefiting Operation Food Search.
It's great to see City as a club trying to intermingle as much as possible within the community. I think it's great not only for City, but also just to see the people of St. Louis come out and help, and that's what we're all about as a club. And it seems like as a person that's becoming a Midwestern, what Midwesterners are all about is they're good people and they want to help.
And even though they haven't had a great season, they're always out in the community, and there's so many passionate City SC fans.
For sure.
Yep.
Frank, thanks. We'll be right back. St. Louis rapper Nelly is a dad again. His wife Ashante announced on Instagram today that she gave birth to a baby boy last month. Kareem Kincaid Haynes was born on July 18th. It's the couple's first child together. The 49-year-old rapper came into the marriage with 4 children. The Blues will drop the puck on ticket sales tomorrow. Single game tickets for preseason and regular season games go on sale at 10 a.m. on Ticketmaster. The Note will open the season October 8th in Seattle. The first home game scheduled for October 15th against the Minnesota Wild. And there you have it, a late edition of 5 on Your Side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next. Don't forget to start your day with Today in St. Louis. That begins at 4 a.m., goes all the way till 7. Have a great tomorrow.